On the 2nd of July 2025. No, not that one.
No, 164. 164.
Yeah, 164. Yeah. I received an invitation signed by the Provincial Commissioner of KZN, General Mkhwanazi, where he says that invitation to the Provincial Excellence Awards KwaZulu-Natal on 6 June. The KwaZulu-Natal province will be hosting the Provincial Excellence Awards to award members and officers who rendered outstanding service on Friday, 6 June 2025 at International Convention Center in Durban. All guests are required to be seated by 17:30. On behalf of the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General N.S. Mkhwanazi, you are kindly invited to attend this important meeting event. Please RSVP not later than 2025-0603 to confirm your attendance. Should you wish to have any questions or need further assistance, please contact Colonel Funani at this number or Warrant Officer Stredo at this number. So
did you attend this awards evening?
I did attend it.
And what was that occasion like? I check it, the National Commissioner was also there.
Chair, I just don't want to make a mistake. I do know that there's one I didn't attend, but this one I don't think I attended. I didn't attend this one. There's one that I attended where it was now with the police. I think it was a National Police Day, but the excellence one I didn't attend. He even made a follow-up whether I'm coming or not, but I was not able to come because the National Commission had sent me Cape Town, I think.
Okay. And then on, what is that on 165?
Well, on 165, Chair.
This is addressed to you. It's dated the 2nd of July.
Before I get on to this one, Chair, I want to indicate that even subsequent to that meeting with the Minister and General Mkhwanazi, I've shared a stage with General Mkhwanazi when we were going to address the Comrade Marathon colleagues that were going to participate in the Comrade Marathon. It was myself, General Mkhwanazi, and the National Commissioner. This General Mkhwanazi who spoke, then I spoke, then the National Commissioner giving a message of support to the team. So we've been working together. I've been KZN many a times where we were working together. Even on the 4th, the Friday before the 6th of July, I got a call. The National Commissioner sent me to Parliament. I was on my way to Parliament to go and represent the National Commissioner this side. I got a call from General Mkhwanazi. And then he said to me, "Hello, boss, you called me boss on that day." He said, "Hello, boss, will you be attending will you be coming to Durban?" I said, "Yes, General, I will be there." And then he said, "Ubo Chopel," he said, "You must let me know because you are the senior manager of the South African Police Service. I must know when you are in the province because you will have a puncture and the next thing you won't know what happened to you." I said, "No, General, I will let you know." And then I didn't let him know though, but I went to Durban. So I'm just indicating or rather demonstrating that even on the 4th of July, the eve of the press conference, I spoke to him and I didn't even know and I didn't see it coming actually. Thank you, Chair.
So there's a number of events leading up to the 6th of July And that includes a private meeting held with a minister where you and him were present, and you say you shook hands, and your recollection is that that was a cordial meeting, and there was nothing untoward at that meeting. That was in May. Then in June, you get an invitation to attend a Provincial Excellence Award, and then subsequently you also went to Durban on the 4th of July at his invitation.
No, I didn't go at his invitation.
Please correct me.
He asked me whether will I be coming to KZN.
Okay.
I said, yes, I will be, because there is this event that normally takes place every July in Durban. So he was asking whether I'll be going, and I said, yes, I'll be there.
And this is after the minister's letter of the 31st of December 2024. This is after your letters that you wrote.
Yeah, that is long after that.
Yeah. Honorable Chair, is this a convenient point to break for lunch, perhaps, before I go on to a new topic? As you wish, Chair. Yeah. So, before we get to the letter of the 31st of December, do you know Brown Mogotsi?
I know Brown Mogotsi.
How do you know him?
Brown Mogotsi, I know him as an activist in Northwest, but I didn't know him. I also Googled him, and I saw him at some point. He was commenting and making it was an interview, but relating to the former premier and Gauteng, former premier of Northwest, and he also contacted me. Remember that he would also collect some information there around there, what is going on, whether be it the tender-related corruptions there or concerns that he had. And then also he ended up also aiding the fact that, look, I just also want to warn you that you must know that the intelligence people are working on you. They're busy in your case after you. I knew about it, and then he was just telling me something that I was aware of. And I even spoke to the National Commissioner about it at some point. I said, NASCOM, I just got this strange call from this person. He says he's Brown. I didn't know Brown Mogotsi, but he said he's Brown. And then we were leaving his office, and the National Commissioner said, well, let's keep on listening to him. Let's hear what he says, and we didn't entertain it further.
What is your relationship, if any, with Brown Mogotsi?
Senior Counsel, just before you proceed, General, are you saying that he called you?
You called me, Chair.
And informed you that the intelligence people are listening to you or are investigating you?
Yes, Chair, and that was the case.
Without you having had a discussion with him before about a matter like that?
Yes, Chair.
Okay.
I had not even met him, not even once. Even my records can show.
But he phoned you?
He did call me.
So his phone will show that? His phone will show that he phoned you?
Yes, the record can indicate that. The records are there. They should be there. Yeah.
So how does he get your number? I mean, a senior person like you in the police, I'm sure a lot of our citizens would want to phone higher up sometimes when they're frustrated because a crime that's not being addressed or followed up or solved. and then they want to phone higher up. Now, you don't know this guy?
Council, I don't know this guy. I never contacted him before, and you do get it because at this level, you get calls from citizens of this country, and they will tell you that I'm so and so. I've been given your number by so and so and so and so. Sometimes another one will call and say, "How can I get this person?" And then they will phone around. Ultimately, they'll come across your number. Even the ministers, they do get calls from people they least expected from.
So he must have gotten your number from a third party or some people.
That's correct.
And there's nothing unusual about that, you said?
It happens all the time, Council.
And he also gave you some information that, some people are after you, words to that effect.
That's correct, Chair.
So he's peddles information.
The council put it that way.
Of a political nature.
The council put it that way that he will call you and tell you that, "Hey, Chief, be careful, 1, 2, 3, 4 is happening." And then mine is to see how I deal with this information.
Okay. And did you ever meet him in person?
Yes, twice.
When was that and where?
The very first time when we went to operate in KZ in Durban, January 8, we were there on official duties.
On?
Official duties.
Yeah.
And then he called and said, "Will you be in Cape Town?" I said, "Yes, I will be there, sir. I will be working." He said, "I'll come greet you because we are going there." I said, "It's fine." And then he did come to the hotel where I was at that time. And he came, greeted me. It was during breakfast, and he left in town.
And where was that? Which hotel was that? In Cape Town?
Yeah, in Cape Town, in town. But it's one of the Southern Sun hotels.
Was that with the January 8th?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was here. Were you also here for the party celebrations on January 8th?
No, I was here on official duties. The top management of the police will be here to run the operations. We are all here, all of us. So you will get people that you know. I met a lot that I know, and we will greet each other when we met. I had the issue of the Camps Bay, but in Camps Bay, it was actually a friend of mine, Malusi Zondo, that I met at Camps Bay in Tiger's Mill. They were there also eating, and I said, "Okay, I'll come and see you," and went there and greeted, and we left.
But why would you give audience to someone you don't know? He must have some kind of influence to access you directly and even to have breakfast with you. Not many people who don't.
No, I can't say really, Chair, I don't have any reason to say, no, I can't see you. You're talking to a person over the phone all the time. You're talking to the person over the phone, and then he tells you and says, "Will you be there?" And I say, "Yes." I say, "I'll come and greet you." I say, "It's okay." To me, I didn't see anything wrong.
But he must have dropped a name or two to persuade you to meet him for breakfast.
No, he didn't drop names other than telling me that, "Chief, be careful here and there." And then he will give me information. And the information that he gave me, you find that is the information that I know and that I see is happening around me.
So did he give you that information there over breakfast?
No, all the time when we speak. Some people you want to avoid. But some people you cannot avoid, because if someone gives you something that you know you may need, you listen to him as and when he calls.
So how many calls did he make to you, more or less? You said, you mentioned you spoke to him all the time.
Yeah, at that time it wasn't that many times, but he's the kind of a person that I never really deliberately, so I never wanted to block him. I deal with information. And then there's no way I will block him. I will listen to him every time he calls. Because you block the person, the next thing this was the person who was going to save you for one or other reasons. I need that information.
So you must have found him to be at least very interesting and someone who's worth listening to, because the information that he was giving you strikes you as stuff that you knew or knew of. And so you were curious, how does this guy know all these things?
You see, my job, Chair and honorable members, I deal with information. I work with information. I work with crime. I deal with crime. I have to get information from all over the country, and whatever information that I get to me helps me.
So again, so how many times more or less did he phone you? How many times more or less did he meet you? Was the Cape Town breakfast meeting on January 8th or wherever it was, on the eve of January 8th, was that the only time you...
He met me only once here in Cape Town. And even when he left, he forgot to pay. And then...
So he peddles information and he must pay for it.
No, he forgot to pay. And then he said to me, hey, I forgot to pay there. Can you pay? I didn't agree to pay because, I didn't know that I was going to have a guest that I must pay breakfast for.
Yeah.
So I didn't pay. He then said he had to come and pay.
So he's some guy. and so during this meeting at breakfast, and you still haven't said how many calls more or less he made to you.
No, when he was here, Chair, it was that one call when he came here, and then from that was it. To greet, and that was it. It's not like we are friends. We are not close to each other.
Does he phone you, or do you phone him, and do you have his number on your phone?
I had his number on my phone. I do have his number on my phone, but many a times he's the one who calls. I don't call.
Okay. And in these calls that he made to you and the meeting he had, did he mention the name of Kat Matlala to you?
No. He never mentioned. It does happen sometimes when he will talk about the issue of Kat who's been arrested and things that he reads on the newspaper. But I will not really entertain him on such cases,
Do you know Kat Matlala?
I know Kat Matlala.
How do you know him? Have you got a relationship with him?
No. Before I came back to the police, I didn't know Kat. Mr. Matlala. I didn't know Mr. Matlala, and I got to know Mr. Matlala when he called, asking, wanting to meet. And I said, no, come to the office.
When was that call?
The call was around about I can't remember exactly, but I do have the bundle when they wanted to have a meeting with the lawyer, because they did came. I don't know with my legal team whether we did put. I have it, Chair. If we can maybe during lunch or after, just produce the paperwork. Unless
you look at what this is. This is a next to. Thank you, Maria. This is at pages 203 to 205 to your statement. It's not 203, 205. And it's, you deal with it in your statement on page 26 from paragraph 81. Page 203, it's SB 14.1.
You see, mine is blank, Chair.
203 to 205. They're all blank. Or is it just 203?
No, they shouldn't be blank. There is a letter.
Or is it just a really poor print? Just turn over the next page. Sorry, the SB 14.1 it just reads Uthi Matlala sent on Thursday, the 22nd of February 2024. It's to Major General Sitoli, care of Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, and then Public Works lease. And this is in connection with the lease agreement, Medicare 24, Tshwane District. This is a letter of demand. And then if you go over the page, this is 204 to 205. You see that letter?
Yes, I see the letter.
It's dated the 19th of January 2024, and it's addressed to the National Commissioner. It's on the letterhead of attorneys S.J. Ndlovana. So the question is, are you aware of that email and the attached letter of demand?
Yes, I'm aware, Chair.
And it's, if you look at your page 26 of your statement, perhaps you can just, if that can help you refresh your memory, paragraph 81. Where you say, I know Uthi Matlala as a service provider of the SAPS.
Paragraph 28, page 28.
Page 26.
26.
Paragraph 81.
Yes.
Do you want to read from there, or do you want to?
Yes, I do know Uthi Matlala as a service provider of the South African Police Service. He's well known in the South African Police because he was at the time running a hospital at a subs college. As far as I know, he was awarded a healthcare contract at the police. I, however, do not know exactly the detail of the contract because that's between supply chain and it's in another division. And then during about February 2024, when I was acting National Commissioner, Mr. Matlala set up an appointment to visit me at my office. On his visit, Mr. Matlala complained that he has been awarded the tender, but he was not allowed to use the facility and thus not able to deliver in terms of the tender agreement. He also finished me with a letter. Addressed to the National Commissioner. And a copy of this letter is attached here to SB 14.1, which is page 203.
Yeah, 204 and 5 is the letter.
Yes. Mr. Matlala also had a letter from Public Works which confirmed that he received a lease agreement to utilize the building. I then consulted with the National Commissioner on the issue, and his response was that Public Works was not going to tell us on how to utilize our building. So the tender nevertheless continued. My responsibility in this regard was to just give Mr. Matala feedback on what had transpired when I had informed the National Commissioner, which I did. I did not know Mr. Matala before the meeting.
And did you, what happened with these demands? Do you know whether there were any legal proceedings subsequent to the letter of demand?
Not at all. There were no further demand that I'm aware of. What I know is that he kept on working. We met him many times at the college. When there are events at the college, we would have at the stadium where you have your gazebos, you have Metropolitan, Old Mutual, other service providers, gazebos, everyone displaying their own products. And then you will also have Medi24 where they also do high blood and sugar diabetes tests and all that, things like those. So this is a person who was just known by a lot of generals there and other colleagues. So I knew him.
Okay. May we please take Honorable Sangon?
Thank you, Chair. No, just clarity, please, General, through you, Chair. On paragraph 81, which is the facility, and then is it interchangeable with the building? So what is this? Is this the college, the hospital? What was he complaining about?
Yeah, you see, every college will have a clinic, or I don't know whether they call it hospital or clinic, so that as the students are busy with training, and should one of them fall ill or injured, but you have an hospital where you can go and be attended to. Now he was of the view or feeling that he's not being allowed to access the hospital, but yet he's been given a tender. And at the same time, he's been made to fail because now he's struggling to deliver, but at the same time, services are expected from him, but he's not being allowed to be able to occupy the facility. That was the basis for the complaint.
So, are you satisfied, Honorable Member?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Senior Counsel, you may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. So you addressed this with the National Commissioner?
Yes.
And this would have been General Masmola?
Yes.
And do you know whether it was resolved?
I don't know.
You don't know. And did Mr. Matlala or his attorney contact you again after that?
No. I've never dealt with the matter of agreed in relation to this one.
And is it your evidence that you only then met him, had contact with him, interacted with him from time to time, like the other generals?
Yes.
In the service, at some of these occasions at the college, in his capacity as a service provider?
As a service provider, as a stakeholder, yes.
So how would you describe your relationship with him? Just certainly not as maybe
we are not friends, or we were not friends. But at the same time, I was getting to know him. I wasn't really, if ever I've met, in my whole life, I've met Mr. Matala, it is 5 times less. He's not someone that I was really close to. It was just the beginning of knowing each other more. So my interactions with him is really very, very, very limited.
So let me ask you about, you have seen the affidavit, of Brigadier Kuneni in the search and seizure application. And can I direct your attention to page 20 of the core bundle? This is part of the, it starts at page 1, it's the court order, search and seizure access in terms of the Cyber Crimes Act. And on page 3 you'll see this search, access and seizure warrant pertains to Mr. Shadrack Sibiya.
Page 20.
Sorry?
Page 20.
Yeah, page 20. I'm just giving some introduction to it. And then this is the document that was filed in the High Court. And Annexure A to the application is the affidavit of William Sipho Kuneni, Brigadier in the South African Police. He's the head of Serious and Violent Crimes Unit in KZN. And then at page 20, from paragraph 34 onwards, at the top of page 20, it says that, let me go to page 19, paragraph 33, sorry. On 14 May 2025, Matlala was arrested on the Sandton docket, and the police seized his cell phones together with SIM cards for further investigation. Matlala was asked to consent for the search, access, and seizure without a warrant. Matlala agreed and signed the formal consent form, which is attached. Then, paragraph 34, Colonel Diezi from the Digital Forensic Investigations Unit forensically searched and accessed Matlala's cell phones in the Sandton docket and prepared a report. The purpose of searching and accessing Matlala's phones was to establish the link in the Sandton docket between the suspects, Musa Kakani and Danny Mubzela on the one hand, and Matlala. Sergeant Satole received the forensic downloads in the report and saw messages that relate to the closure of the PKTT. Sergeant Satole reports directly to Khumalo. The data uncovered on Matlala's phones were communicated to Khumalo. Khumalo informed Masemola what was discovered on Matlala's phones. Masemola engaged with Mkhwanazi as a provincial commissioner, affected by the decision to disband the team. This culminated in the media briefing of 6 July 2025. Digital evidence extracted from Matlala's devices reveals conversations between him and Mogotsi, in which the latter wrote, and I quote, "I have arranged a meeting for Sibiya and the minister. They must have a solution." A further message from Mogotsi stated, "The task team that came to your house and harassed you have been dissolved. They got the letter on Monday. As we speak, they are bringing all dockets to Sibiya." Then the affidavit reads further, "I hasten to add that these conversations took place on 1 January 2025, long before Sibiya issued the instruction for dockets which were investigated by PKTT to be transferred to Pretoria. Further messages shows that Matlala financially supported Nkunu's political campaign and paid for certain expenses for the direct and indirect benefit of Nkunu.
Okay, Senior Counsel, that will be the last question before we get a break.
Then, Sibiya, you'll have some time to ponder on this and respond when we get back from lunch. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
No, if he so wishes, he can respond and we break. And if he feels he wants to respond after break, you are still welcome, General.
Chair, may I suggest that I read this thing because this one is a statement. I just want to read it in its totality so that I can then be ready to respond. Thanks.
You are allowed. Do you want to respond now or when we come back?
I thought when we come back, because I was going to have a chance now to go through it.
Okay.
Thanks.
That's okay. No, we are breaking for 30 minutes, honorable members.